I'm Ray.
I'm Candace.
Welcome to Unpacking Coffee. This week,
Little Waves
of Durham, North Carolina.
Drip top coffee making little waves, little waves, little waves.
Fly on, Little Wave. Candace,
Ray,
how did we hear about Little Waves of Durham, North Carolina?
interesting you should ask. This is a coffee roaster that is at the La Marzocco Cafe.
So what'd you talk about?
Between signing up and starting at La Marzocco, they completely rebranded. We talked to founders and lovebirds, Areli and Leon.
I'm Areli Barrera de Grodski. I am one of the co-owners of Cocoa Cinnamon and Little Waves Coffee Roasters.
I'm Leon Grodski Barrera. I am her husband and partner. I oversee the retail side of our business.
They have a coffee shop called Cocoa Cinnamon. Like asking a question is like going
On a little trip together, maybe?
Cocoa Cinnamon was born first. It kind of started out of this dream, literally. Like the name came to Leon in a dream.
And I had moved from Williamsburg, Brooklyn to rural Appalachia and ended up opening with somebody art center and a coffee shop. I had lived in an indigenous Cherokee family. Living there led me to do a lot of reading, primarily at first about Cherokee culture and history, then led to, in some sense, the history of the world, but focused through coffee, chocolate, and tea. And it's this like beautiful layering of histories. After several years of that, for some reason, one morning I woke up with the words cocoa cinnamon in my head. You look at cocoa, you look at cinnamon, you look at coffee, you look at cloves, you have a view of the last 500 years.
We started as a bike first because of money and slowly grew our way to one retail shop, to two retail shops, to a third retail shop, which then allowed us to have enough space to open up our roastery. Little Waves Coffee Roasters is an extension of Cocoa Cinnamon, but focused more on the roasted beans and the sourcing and the creating relationships. Started off as Fourth Dimension Coffee. That was another Leon dream.
Is the fourth dimension taste or smell?
Fourth Dimension to us was more than just like a scientific another dimension, but more of being able to look at coffee from different perspectives, from perspectives that we haven't even yet seen.
But then in September of this year, they rebranded to Little Waves. So this is hot off the presses.
Mm-hmm. An Unpacking Coffee exclusive.
This was an unexpected development.
I don't want to go too deep into it, but there was a little bit of a legal negotiation going on with our old name.
Little Waves came to us in a text, actually, when Leon and I were falling in love. He wrote me a text message saying little waves rushing up on a shore. So yeah, Little Waves kind of made its way into our handbook. So it made so much sense to rename our brand to that.
One of the things that I'm really happy about going from Fourth Dimension Coffee to Little Waves is Little Waves doesn't have to only be complex. It can roll off the tongue and you can picture like the drop of a coffee in a cup and the reverberation, so it can feel simple, but we can also go deeper with it.
For me, representation is super important. Little Waves is such a great name for what we do because we do set out the indicators with our business.
The rebrand happened quickly.
Worked really hard with our designer, Michelle, who's also one of our long-term employees.
We even got her on camera.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, totally.
My name is Michelle Durango Lopez. The main thing that they had initially been interested in was my riff on a variant of their old like Fourth Dimension logo.
We had been set on a logo that we were ready to launch, and then we showed a different design element to some of our team members. And
both Areli and my family are both from Mexico. Areli's family being Huichol, this type of like beautiful beading work in Mexican culture. They wanted something that spoke to that and the Mexican roots. A very typical Mexican icon is that image of a bold sun and moon, and a lot of times they're in this position where they're like almost kissing.
And everyone's reaction to that was like, that should be the logo.
And it fit with this whole phrase that they had, the sun and the moon and everything in tune.
Once we made that decision, all of us were all on the same page that like that felt right. Always honoring the origins and stories and sharing our culture with people.
The identity is very approachable and very lovely. I like the colors. They seem soft and friendly and warm.
It's colorful, it's bright, and it makes you think about
Going bump in the night.
One of the biggest projects that we took on besides the rebranding was the packaging of printed bags for our coffee.
You know, right, often we have packaging with us to talk about.
That's right, Candace.
But this process is still so on the move that the packaging hasn't arrived yet.
Michelle started with the rebrand. She started designing our bags, and in some form or fashion, I don't know how, through all these conversations, like we came up with something that, even if it's a limited edition, like feels really close to being able to represent some of that, even if it's within the energy, right? There's like a little paragraph about what we do on the back, but other than that, it's kind of through imagery. The terms, the sun, the moon, and everything in tune, and rooted reverberations, which are kind of represented on the sides of the bag.
Our team is 85% women, 65% bilingual, and we have all these stats that are real that we can put it on our website. Can we put it on our bag? No, but we can tell language on our bag that then makes somebody want to go to the website and dig deeper. And so we can actually be honest about our approach that has complexity to it, but even in the simple blurb that's on the bag, and know that we're telling the truth. That's something that I think the Little Waves is getting us, and I think that I'm feeling proud of that.
You know, our packaging right now is not as sustainable as it could be. So we looked at bio tray bags. In the beginning, the minimum order was like 10,000 bags, something that was kind of out of reach for us. And then something magical happened, and now you can buy like 1,000 bags at a time.
We got the bio tray, the white craft on those, so that's really exciting. That lining up with being at LMC, everything's just like falling into place, so that feels really nice.
One thing that I need to get better at is also just like making sure that our bags are also represented in the Spanish language. Because for me, it's also important not just like who's working with me, but who's buying our coffee.
I think one of the challenges with our business and our names and our approach is that there's so much layering. Our jobs, in some specific sense, is to identify this beautiful thing that is created in this beautiful context that we then develop a roast profile and extraction methods and recipes to release its essential beauty. And for us, that's an extraordinary experience. And all the things we're talking about are the layers of that. And in this particular case, we're trying to do that through presentation of packaging. How do we communicate it? How do we present those experiences? That's kind of what the layers of our project are about.
Simple, right?
Little Waves Coffee Roasters.
Of Durham, North Carolina.